Hey everybody, it's Stan again. My third video is the first steps to take if we think we may be mercury or heavy metals toxic. Trying to condense this so you know what to do. There's so many things to try to mention so you don't overlook something or best understand what I'm trying to say here. So hopefully this isn't too confusing. It might need to be two videos if I talk too much. Again, I'm not a doctor. I was only toxic myself, and my intent here is to try to open our minds right here to other possibilities as to what the root of our problems are, specifically heavy metals and toxicity. Okay, once you open your mind to that, you delve into it, you see that that might be the root of your problem, not other things you've been told. It's not stress, it's not what you're eating, it's it's not genetics, all that stuff. You might actually be able to remove these things from your system and get better. You can subscribe at my website link here, which will be below. I put these in every video, and I may get to this later, but these are like the high-level things to not forget about. But I think I'm going to talk about most of them in this video, so I'm going to move right down here. Very quickly, the main things to think about in detoxing and getting well from this is, in no particular order, safely remove the exposure. If it's amalgams, safely remove them. If you're eating too much seafood, literally stop eating seafood. I don't eat any of it because I think it's all tainted. So again, I'll do other videos on that where I talk about it in more specifics. Trace amounts are enough to make some of us sick. It made me sick. Okay. MTHFR is a genetic thing. It has to do with our detox pathways being open and clear. If you don't have them open and clear and you try to detox, you're going to have a hard time for the most part. And boosting your natural detox, glutathione, is a very good approach and a good idea no matter what's wrong with any of us. And in general, all of us should be doing this. Don't overlook thiols, which are sulfur-based foods, in our diet, which has a lot to do with feeling crappy every day. That's why when we eat better, we tend to feel better. Don't overlook leaky gut. Just addressing that made a huge improvement for me. And a lot of us have gut issues, digestive issues because of the metals. You can get a hair test to confirm what's in you, and mineral derangement. Talk about that more below. And then don't overlook other issues: mold, fungal, mycotoxins, and Lyme. I'm going to show you a triangle real quick since it's popped into my head here. This isn't necessarily the exact way to do things, but many of us, when we're heavy metals toxic right here, we also have bacteria in us. We have viruses like Epstein-Barr virus. We may have mold. We have EMF and Wi-Fi interference and issues. This doctor is saying attack it in this order: first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Other people think go for mold first. Other people think you got to address these things if it's in your gut first. For me, I kind of just went after the amalgams. That was my main thing. I knew the root of my problems was amalgams. Why? Because amalgams and mercury is a breeding ground for bacteria, for viruses, for mold, and it makes you more susceptible, I believe, to the EMF stuff. Some people say mold is the connection here. But for me, I started kind of in the middle, and then I worked my way out, okay? So I just wanted to show you that real quick. It's a really interesting triangle because, it's not just heavy metals, or it's not just mold, it's not just whatever. It's all these things together, and if you overlook one, you might have trouble with the other. I'm almost 4 minutes into the video, so I'm going to run out of time at 15 minutes. So, moving along. I will just go through all these one at a time, and we'll see how far we get. I always talk root cause, root cause, root cause. A lot of people don't understand what that really means. A lot of people say, well, I think I got this digestive problem because I was taking too many painkillers. The painkillers was the root cause. Well, why were you taking painkillers? The reason you were taking painkillers is the root cause. Okay, see the difference there? So think along those lines. It'll help you a whole lot in sorting through all this stuff. If you don't see things that way or understand what a true root cause is, you're going to miss the root cause, or you're not going to get to the root cause. Number two, try to have an open mind. Stop thinking that you have a disease. with no cure. That's what everybody tells us. That's what our doctors tell us. I reversed diseases, so I know that I did not really have a disease, in my opinion. Okay, we can argue about this all day long. We can debate it all day long. Definitely leave comments below. That's what the point of the video is, to educate each other and help spread the best information. Doctors can only diagnose what's on their approved list of diagnoses. Okay, they'll try to connect your symptoms to some known disease. If you have MS type symptoms, they might suspect you have MS and send you to an MS specialist, who may then diagnose you and say, well, you're coming down with MS or something like that. So in other words, if you think you have a disease, you will have a disease, and you won't see around that, and you'll never get to the root of it, potentially, and get well. So very, very important concepts right here. Number 3, get a hair test to see what's in you. If you Google Dr. Amy's hair test, you'll see this link. I don't know if I still have that up. No, I got rid of it. So you can go to that link and see what it looks like. It's like $95, $97. You don't need a doctor. In a couple of weeks, you get the turnaround. You get the results. This is my hair test right here. I don't mind showing this. All the scribble is Dr. Amy's scribble. This is about 4 years ago when I had this done. As you can see, let me get this better in the picture. My mercury right here, you would say that looks low, right? Actually, all of these look low. But I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different metals in me. The biggest one appears to be aluminum. Now, low in a hair test doesn't necessarily mean the level is low. It might mean you're not detoxing very well. It's not coming out of you very well because you have something blocking your detox pathways. It's very, very important to understand that. All these minerals here, you can see all these numbers here and levels. When I had this read by somebody, they said I definitely had signs of mineral derangement, which is what metals will do to your minerals. It gets them all screwed up so they don't work properly. I'll delve into that in maybe some other videos, but that's the information you can get from a hair test. You don't really want to worry about levels too much because the levels are kind of irrelevant. If you have symptoms and then you do a hair test and you see that you do have metals, what more do you need to know? I mean, there's nobody that can tell you what level is going to make you feel a certain way or feel good or feel bad. The mix of levels gives you an unknown bad synergy, according to what Dr. Boyd Haley says. So I see a lot of people getting hung up on levels, and even people saying, I still have all these symptoms. I had my amalgams removed. My levels were low because somebody told them that, and blah, blah, blah. And I say to them, well, if you still have levels, it's very likely causing your symptoms. There's no way to say what level is bad. And here's a thought. If the levels that they published were all correct, then how in the world did we all get sick? How did we put amalgams in our mouths and somehow build up levels in us and get sick? There's people that got sick just from eating seafood. The levels are okay, right? Okay, think about that. Blood test is not the proper way to test. It will only show recent exposure. My blood test was very low, negligible. However, my hair test showed what I just showed you, and I had a lot of symptoms, okay? If it gets in your blood, it'll filter through your kidneys and liver. It takes something like 70-some days, call it 90 days, to get through, and then your blood will show less levels, and it'll give a false indication that you're okay. Again, what level is too much? Okay, in every human body that's out there, that's got different issues and different mixes of low immune system and genetics and all that kind of stuff. Again, mineral derangement, we'll learn from a hair test. Again, I said levels are irrelevant. People have argued with me about that. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter. What level are you going to stop detoxing at? Do you know? And what level would you stop detoxing at? Seriously. I will never stop detoxing because I don't want even a tiny bit of any bad stuff in me the rest of my life from what I've been through and what I know. Okay? No one can say what level or mix will cause what exact symptoms. It's an impossibility. Many are told their levels are not affecting them. This is ridiculous to even make that statement, I think. I don't know how anybody can make that statement. And then many people walk away and they overlook the root cause of metals because someone told them their levels are low or they're safe. And then they get sicker. And then it's really hard to convince them that's what is really making them sick, because not only they suspected it, then some doctor, some professional, somebody told them they're okay, and then later on they realized maybe months or years later that they were right in the first place. And it's just a hard thing to deal with mentally, especially when you've got a toxic brain. Do not do provoked urine tests. It uses a chelator and it pushes metals around inside of us in an uncontrolled way, causes redistribution. A lot of people think redistribution is very bad. I do. And maybe it causes even permanent damage. We don't know. We'll read about this 20 years from now when the textbooks finally catch up with what's going on right now. That's another good point I should have put here. I do believe we are the worst toxic generation of people right now, and maybe going to get worse. So we're the guinea pigs. We're writing the textbooks. The textbooks that were written don't pertain to how messed up people are today in today's world. And getting people well is not easy in all cases. I know many people who have done exactly some of the things I'm telling you to do here, and they're still struggling. So we're still trying to get to the bottom of things. Some people will argue with me and say that, the provoked urine test is fine, IV chelation is fine, I did it, I feel well. Okay, just be very cautious. I did IV chelation and I had kidney issues years later. Was it related? Hard to say, almost impossible to say for sure. So I'm very, very extra super cautious on all this, because this issue makes people very, very ill, causes organ damage, organ failure, and some people don't make it. Okay, any level could be bad. My chelation doctor years ago felt that low levels over a long period of time were worse than acute levels. I already talked about redistribution. Thiol intolerance has to do with sulfur-based foods. I will do a video on that separately. There's like dozens and dozens of sulfur-based foods. They bond with the metals just like a chelator would, and it causes redistribution and it makes you feel terrible. Okay, so a lot of people are eating all the wrong stuff, adding to their symptoms. It's very simple to sort through that. But at some point, some of us do end up eating literally just broth every day, because that's all we can tolerate. Okay, so get ready, get prepared for that kind of scenario. MTHFR, already talked about that. It's a genetic test. I had a blood test to find out what I had. It turns out I had the two of the variants in the worst scenario, which made my natural detox maybe something around 20%, if that's accurate information. So, right off the bat, I wasn't even detoxing anywhere near normal every day. Probably why I got sicker than most people. They say 50% global population has this. Okay, so how many people out there do you think have it? When you look around at your friends and family, and you can generally say, yeah, about half the people I know are kind of sick all the time, and the other half, for some reason, seem okay. I would say the ones that are okay have a stronger, better detox system for many reasons, and the ones that are sick all the time have these genetic issues. And there's a lot more than just MTHFR coming out right now. It's a whole lot of people getting a lot of different tests. The only thing I would caution you is don't get so hung up on the test, because there's things called SNPs, which are these variations of all this, of MTHFR, and everybody, in the MTHFR group, they can list all their SNPs, but they're not getting well because they're not looking at the root cause, which might be heavy metals. It's a chicken and egg thing with this. Mercury sorry, there's my phone. Mercury causes the same methylation issues as MTHFR, so you have to ask which caused what. Okay, I'll talk about that in more detail in my video about MTHFR. I'm out of time, gotta run.